episode of Lie, Cheat, and Steal, the podcast about liars, frauds, thieves, and bullshitters. I'm your host, Pat Soroyce. If you guys are liking what you hear, we do drop 2 episodes every month, and you can also check us out on our Patreon for 2 more episodes every month. So 2 whole more scam stories, access to ad-free episodes. Also, you get access to our Discord server, which is a great fun place to be, and talk about scams with other like-minded, dishonest individuals. No, I'm kidding. You guys are great. Also, if you like, you want to check us out on social medias, we are at Lie, Cheat, Steal Podcast on just about every social media you can think of, if you can only think of 3. They are, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. That being said, I am here with my co-host, as always, Kath Barbadoro. How you doing?
Hi, Pat. I'm good. This is the second episode we're recording on the New York mayoral primary night, and we took a quick break between episodes, and they're starting to count the votes. By the time this one comes out, we'll probably know who won. But I'm just gonna pretend perpetually that the thing I just checked is gonna hold, and our Mamdani will be the nominee. It's looking good right now at 9:16 p.m. on June 24th, which is like so far away from actually knowing. But yeah,
I would like to extend a warm welcome to our Cuomo overlords.
Getting in, just being on the safe side.
Yeah, I'm there on the side of safety because, I know Mamdani's so cool that if he would, he hears me say that, he'd still let me slide. Cuomo, not so much.
There was a video today that he posted of him taking selfies with a Cuomo canvasser. And it was like, the implication was like, Cuomo's paying these people. Like, they don't give a shit about Cuomo. But it was so funny, just like, yeah, man, he doesn't care. He'll reach across the aisle to you.
Yeah, I'd be instantly skeptical if like a young, hip person showed up at my house and was like, hey, can we talk about the incumbent Democrat who sexually molested like 11,000 people or the fuck number it was? Like, I was like, you don't care about that guy. I clearly don't care about that guy.
Yeah, it's been a wild couple weeks over here. So yeah, hopefully we can keep it going because he's got the goods. That guy's pretty great.
Dude, it seems so cool. I've seen him talk about his policies. That's really what got me. I was like, this guy actually has a plan. And I don't live in New York. I don't know what New Yorkers need, but it's not. He does, and the shit he's saying, I'm like, that makes sense. Makes sense to me.
Yeah. He's great, and he's like a really good politician. He's really charismatic. Unfortunately, being the mayor of New York City is a curse, a multi-generational curse that will ruin your life. It will make you go completely fucking insane. So I want him to win, but I'm also like, fucking good luck, man. This is a horrible job, and the fact that you want to do it makes me think there's something wrong with you. But hey, I'm glad you're doing it. Well, how are you? I have a segue, but I want to check in with you first.
I'm good. I think I got a pinched nerve in my shoulder.
No,
and
I hate that.
I know, because like at first I was like, oh, there's a little crick in my neck, there's a little pain in my shoulder, and I've been taking like Advil like pretty regularly, and it's not going away. And so I'm like, I think that might be a nerve, and I don't even think I heard it at work. I think I was just lounging.
You move wrong.
Yeah, like I was just lounging on my couch and went to go get up. I was like, oh shit. And so,
how long ago was it?
This was since Saturday. And,
I feel like for me, they usually take about a week.
Okay.
To go
yeah,
away.
because last night it like I went to sleep at like 10 o'clock. I was like, I can't stay up very late as it is, but I was in bed at like a very decent hour, and I was only getting like 2 or 3 minutes of sleep at a time and waking back up because my damn shoulder, and I'm running wire at work, so I'm just like doing like this all day. Go to youtube.com to see me go like this and see what I'm doing. But like, and it's
we gotta edit out that you didn't do it at work, because this sounds like a good workman.
Oh yeah. So there I was at the Capstone Phase 2 Apple Campus project, and it was insane. Oh, I've got a urine specimen actually already prepared. There you are, right there. You can have that. But no, yeah, we'll see. It's just like anything like a laugh or a cough just kind of sucks, and it's hard to find a position where things don't hurt. I'm glad I can draw some attention to this, because from the last episode, I was kind of moving around weird, and it's like literally everything fucking hurts. Everything I'm doing right now, any natural sitting position still fucking hurts.
Yeah.
I got to do like,
go get a massage.
I should. My ex has her massage therapy license. I'm sure she'd love a call. Sup, girl? Hope you've been good.
Hey, you want to touch me and I'll give you money? I know you used to do it for free, but
Yeah, I'm charming. Maybe you can do it for free again. I don't know. We'll see. I'm on good terms with all my exes, which one of my exes loved to point out was a trait of sociopath. So.
Is it really? I feel like I'm on good terms with.
I don't know. She might have.
I would say most of mine.
Yeah.
I feel like I think that's a good sign. I think it's weird when people don't like that.
I almost got a real therapy talk. I was like, my ex thinks I'm a sociopath, but I think she was gaslighting me. So I don't know. I think she just hated that. I think she just hated that I didn't hate all the other women in my life. So.
Fair enough. Fair enough. My segue before, I don't have a good one for what we've just been talking about, so I'm going to go back to before. Zohran Mamdani is getting a lot of celeb endorsements, not from the Democratic Party. Those are all the absolute, like if you were on Epstein's Island, you've come out and endorsed Cuomo, but everybody else has endorsed. I saw he was posting with Emily Ratajkowski today. Like he's all over the place.
Oh, wow.
And today I am telling you a story about celebs. This is a very star-studded episode. This was crazy. I had never heard about this. I think I found it on Reddit. It's a story. It's from quite a while ago. It was initially published in 1999 in Vanity Fair. It is by this guy, Brian Burrow, who I believe has written a book about this as well. But yeah, we have some celebs particularly from the 80s showing up in this.
Best generation of celebs, like markedly worse people, but not worse people, but they were funner.
They were more interesting, and I feel like a lot of the stuff that happens in the story probably wouldn't have happened without a lot of cocaine use. A lot of like men sort of being creepy. This is a story of men being creepy, not in a problematic way, but in the lady gets the last laugh.
Okay, I was gonna say I kind of wanted to guess. I was like, are we talking about Richard Gere and the gerbil story?
We are not.
Damn! I think that might be on the. I mentioned all the time the LCS Bible page when I first thought of the podcast and pitched it to our old producers, and I just wrote down every scam I could think. I swear the gerbil in Richard Gere's ass.
What's the scam? Just that it's like a fake thing.
Just that it's fake, and he says that Sylvester Stallone made it up.
Oh, as like revenge.
The scam was they sold it to the gerbil as a timeshare, and now he's locked in and he can't get out.
His generations of his family are stuck. They have to spend 2 weekends.
Yeah, he's got some some nepo baby gerbil that's like, oh, I could give you June in Richard Gere's ass because I've got that. I'm cash poor, but I can give you June in Richard's ass.
I inherited this. No, today we were talking about a mysterious woman who bewitched the men of Hollywood in the 80s. This is something that could not happen today for multiple reasons. Number one, this is an entirely phone-based scam.
Oh.
People talking on the phone. So that wouldn't happen today. But yeah, this was just fascinating to me. So basically, this woman managed to, through phone calls alone, sort of bewitch and charm dozens of famous men in the 80s.
Wow.
Oh, just over the phone. She would call them and they were so taken with her that they would like repeatedly get in these like phone relationships with her. And she did this to multiple men and they knew about it. They would all talk about her to one another.
That's like the reverse
oh my God, I know.
of the current scam where like it's like, hey, I'm Brad Pitt and I need help. Like yeah. Except like she was doing it to Brad Pitt.
But she was doing it to Brad Pitt. It's so amazing. So so the story opens with an account of this happening to Paul Schrader, and this is kind of an archetypal story. So Paul Schrader, he wrote the screenplay for Taxi Driver. He's a film director. His first movie was American Gigolo. He directed, God, what's it called? The Ethan Hawke climate movie. That's like a recent one. Oh my God, it's driving me crazy.
Story of a Boy, or no?
No, it's the climate change. He's a priest.
Oh damn! No,
First Reformed. Reformed.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that.
It's very good. So he's a famous, very kind of strange guy, this Archer director, but very hot in the 80s. So in 1981, he is a hot commodity in Hollywood. He's in Louisiana shooting this movie, Cat People, which is a fucking insane movie. It's like a total weird bomb, but like kind of intriguing and fascinating. But anyway, he's shooting that. And this woman, he, like an assistant or something, is like, someone's on the phone for you. He goes over, gets on the phone, and she says her name is Miranda Grosvenor, and somehow, like, he doesn't know her, but somehow she manages to keep him on the phone for like 20 minutes. She just has this like really like she's very flirtatious. It never gets like sexual or anything, but she
Yeah.
just has this kind of like vibe. And she also is like a really good gossip, and she knows a lot of stuff about other people in Hollywood. So
Yeah,
it's like a really fun conversation.
That would keep me on the line. If somebody called me and it was just like some chick and she was telling me about like Austin comedy drama, I'd be like, all right, well,
Yeah.
oh, it's okay. Like, yeah.
Totally. So he's like very intrigued by this. So he's like, yeah, call me back. Like, keep calling. And so he's talking to this interviewer, Brian Burrow, about it and says, quote, she was very, very charming, funny, sexy. It was incredible. The information she had on people was very accurate. She knew who was where and who was going to do what project. Once that happened, you got into the game too, because she knew half the dirt on someone and you added 10%. Then she took that 60% and went to the next person. There was always sort of a tease.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So she was doing this and like accumulating all of this stuff.
What
to then,
a
like,
great method. That's really good.
And like people love to fucking gossip. I love this story because I do feel like there is this total misconception that men are not gossips, and that is so not true.
Bro, on the construction site, I'm talking about like you will say something and you'll walk into another room and like somehow the guy in the other room will already know about that shit. It's insane because like you kind of like there's parts of construction sites where you can kind of walk through walls and shit like and like it's been happening. I've been at like the front of a hallway and like said something and like by the time I got to the end of the hallway, the other guy already knew. And it's crazy. It is not a gendered phenomenon. It's totally human, and it is what sets us apart from the animals.
Yeah, exactly. So she's using this gossip as sort of like a incentive, and then she's also super charming. She describes there's always sort of like hints of her being like very good looking.
Yeah.
But she's kind of this mysterious presence, and people find that very like fun and intriguing.
Yeah.
Too. Like, Miranda's calling me. Like,
yeah.
So Schrader kept trying to arrange to meet her. So he's in New Orleans. She says that she goes to Tulane, which is a school in New Orleans, and she's like a sexy blonde with a Porsche who goes to Tulane, and she does modeling. Yeah. Like that's what she's telling these people. So he's in New Orleans, so he's like, let's meet up. And she never shows. So he then calls a friend of his whose name she mentioned, because she was like, oh, I'm talking to all these people. And she's like, oh, my friend, Michael Apted, who's this guy who directed Coal Miner's Daughter. And so Paul Schrader calls him and is like, what's the deal with this? And Apted's like, yeah, I've talked to her too. I've also never met her. Also, you might want to talk to Richard Gere, because Richard Gere talks to her too. So it's like he's playing phone tag. And he also talks to this guy, Buck Henry, who is going to be like a big part of the story.
Just seeing like the four-way of like how they do TV calls in like movies. And it's like, yeah. And it's like Paul Schrader, Buck Henry, and then it's like Richard Gere. There's like the gerbil is on the other line.
Yeah. Exactly. Just they're coming in on a screen sliding in.
Hello, Snuffles here. Yeah, no, she seems nice. I've never met her myself.
So all these people are like, yeah, I've talked to her, like I've never met her. I assumed she must know someone in real life, but like they're all kind of trying to pool their resources together, and they can't figure, because they're sort of doing the reverse of what she's doing, where she gets a little bit of gossip and then adds to her thing.
Yeah.
They're all now taking their little slivers of what they know about her and trying to fit them into
Ooh, and also I'm sure there's like the element of being like, well, yeah, she told me this, and like it's like you spilled the beans about somebody, and it's like now your gossip is getting out, and it's probably getting back to them.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. Well, gerbil's like, you said what about me?
I feel like the gerbil thing probably came up in some of these phone calls. I feel
they said it was like Sylvester Stallone was the one that would like also that's right, they're just two diametrically opposed stars, like Richard Gere and I can see Stallone being like, oh, let me tell you about that guy Gere, dude.
So Buck Henry is someone who like so he was like in the early days of SNL, he would host it a lot. He was like a screenwriter. He was just like a Hollywood kind of personality. And he would get calls from Miranda, and he says, like, I kind of knew right away that there was some kind of con going on.
Yeah.
And I got kind of obsessed with trying to figure it out. Like, he sort of becomes like a Miranda historian, like trying to figure this out. But interestingly, which happens a lot with a lot of the people they talk to, he's like, I know that it's a con, but I can't stop talking to her. Like, it's so fun to talk to her. I just like, I know that she's getting one over on me in some way, but like, that's okay. Like, it's worth it to me to keep.
Yeah, man, that's interesting. Because also, like, like you're dealing with like the celebrities. I'm sure it is fun that some like outside third party they don't really know, and they can probably feel a little candid with. They're like, yeah, I can talk about this and that. Like, it's probably a very enjoyable experience to talk to her. I'm sure she knew what she was doing.
There is too, like, a kind of a lost art of like the intimacy of a phone call. Like, there's something about like a long phone call with someone who you have like chemistry with that like you will say things that maybe even would be like difficult to say in person. You know what I mean? Like,
that's very true.
There's sort of intimacy to it.
Yeah, it's almost like a confessional almost. You have a screen between you and the person. Yeah,
exactly.
I'm seeing a girl right now that does voice messages. And like, it's like, good job, girl. Cause like, and then also she'll slide in a question about the evening's plans at the end of her voice message. And then like, so you have to listen to the whole thing. And then you hear that. Yeah. No, she knows what she's doing, man.
So some of the other people that she's phone friends with, Eric Clapton, Sting, Steve Winwood, Peter Wolf from the J. Giles Band, Robert De Niro, like all the guys. Like,
that is this is the 80s. That is A list. That's A+ list right there. That's crazy.
So she is making all of these friends. There's one guy whose story this account kind of centers on, who was someone who kind of got the closest to her. There are other people we'll get into, but like, so this guy.
So there's like one nut she can't crack. She's like, Kevin Spacey. I don't know. I just can't see. He doesn't. He's more like goodbye. He just doesn't care.
It's more like, that he's immune. This is an interesting, who was in the closet then. Although it's hard to say because like gay dudes also do love to gossip.
Oh, so. Yeah. There you go. Very much true. But yeah.
And a lot of gay men are big flirts too. So like, I don't think it would necessarily bother them to like flirt with a woman on the phone. Even
very true.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so it's this guy, what is his first name? Gil Friesen is his name. And he is a president at A&M Records. So he's like a hotshot in the music industry. And she calls him at his office. And
is A&M Records headquartered in College Station by chance? No, that's a.
So she tells him, he later figures out that it's the same person. She tells him her name is Ariana, so she's not Miranda to him. But she calls him, and I think she initially pretends it's a wrong number, but he realizes later, like after this relationship has run its course, that she must have done a lot of research on him, because she kind of knew who he was right away, and she started talking about stuff he was interested in. Like, he was really into like 50s records, and so she like brought up a bunch of like doo-wop records, and he was like, oh, I like those too. And then it's like, oh, she knew this. Like, she somehow figured this out.
And I guess the only way to conduct that research back in the day was via phone call. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't Wikipedia. You can go to an encyclopedia or go to the library, but it's not going to have information about what fucking records the guy from A&M Records likes. You know, that's not.
You could maybe find some interviews and stuff.
Solid point. Yeah.
But I think this guy, she was getting a lot of this from other phone calls. But yeah, so I'm sorry, this isn't Gil Friesen. This is that's another guy who this happens to. The main guy in the story is Richard Perry, who is another record executive. Okay. That's why I got confused. Sorry about that. Richard Perry, he's an LA music executive. He's a producer. He produced a bunch of records for like Barbra Streisand and stuff. The rest of what I'm saying is what happened. So the doo-wop records and stuff like that, that's all stuff he likes. And he had just gotten out of a relationship, and he was really drawn to Miranda. He was really looking forward to her calls, or Ariana as he knew her as. they started talking like a couple times a day, like several hours of phone call. Like he was in it, you know?
Yeah.
And he really wanted to meet her, and she was always giving excuses. So the story that she would give was that she was a Tulane student who had done some modeling. She would sometimes tell people like, oh, if you want to see what I look like, go buy this box of hair dye because I'm the model on the cover. Like she would say stuff like that.
Go buy anything with a model on it. I look basically like that.
That's me, pretty much just like that. So she sent Perry a photo, and it was like a picture of there was one picture that was a professional modeling picture. There was one that was like a Polaroid of her in front of a white Ferrari. She said she always drove like sporty cars, like that was part of it. So she said she was a Tulane student, and then she spent the rest of her time in New York taking care of her ailing father, who was very wealthy. So she was kind of like this socialite. Was sort of
and he could go at any moment. At any moment, you're gonna want to lock this down now and like get in line for when he's gone. Also, driving a Ferrari while living in the city of New Orleans sounds like a fucking chore.
Yeah, that's such a pain in the ass. Fucking awful, dude.
Yeah. Roads are fucked. It's super hot. I don't know. I just feel like that wouldn't be a good place to have that vehicle.
No, I agree. But yeah, so Perry's like obsessed with her. He really wants to meet her. Then he meets Gil Friesen, who's the A&M guy.
Yeah.
And Perry starts telling Friesen about this woman, and Gil Friesen is like, the exact same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, you're kidding. This is the same thing. And they start putting the pieces together. And Friesen is like, no, I knew her as Miranda, but every other detail you're giving me is the same.
Yeah.
This has to be the same person. And Perry is like heartbroken because he doesn't know that she's talking to other people. Like with him, that was not part of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It was like, and she probably knew that. She could probably pick up like who needs what out of what interaction with him. It's like, oh, this needs to be exclusive. Like I'm his, for lack of a better term. Have you ever seen somebody like that happen in real time, where somebody's like, man, I've been talking to this girl, I've been talking to this guy, and it gets just kind of figured out like, oh, that person? Oh yeah, this. I don't know if you've ever seen that happen to somebody in real time, or had it happen to you in real time. It's heartbreaking.
I've definitely had the thing where like I thought I was making a connection with someone, and then I found out they were just really charming. Like has happened to me. Which like that sucks, but that's not as bad as like, you know, investing in it.
When I was like 21, I met a girl. I just started doing stand-up. I took her down to the Velve to watch me do fucking. Oh, it might have been my third time being on stage. She was my waitress at Chili's. Or at TGI Fridays. Yeah, I met her. We went on a date. I drove her down to Killeen. I brought her back to a party at my friend's house, and we're all outside talking. And she's like, yeah, my boyfriend said that the other day. And I was just like, what?
You came to Killeen with me. What are you doing?
Yeah. I was like, okay. Well, you know, she lived in Killeen. That's what I'm thinking. I was my third time on stage. I still lived in Killeen. I took her to the mic down in Austin.
But you drove her to Austin.
Yeah, we walked around 6th Street. We got pizza. We go back to a party in Killeen. And then she was just like, yeah, my boyfriend was saying that the other day. I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me, girl. Yeah, anyways.
Yeah, so he's like, oh, fuck, like, this is, not only is this not exclusive, this person is probably lying to me. Because, like, she gave me a different name. Like, so after that, he gets in touch with Buck Henry, who is, like, the detective, you know? So, like, Buck Henry is, like, sharing the info. He, like, looks at the picture of the model and is like, yeah, this is like a famous model. This is not. This is not her.
She's on my wife's fucking hair dye box. Like that's good.
So this is when things start getting really weird. So Miranda, who is still talking to Buck Henry, because Buck Henry like can't quit, even though he knows this is like someone who's not telling the truth.
Buck Henry can't quit. It's just, I was on a t-shirt that says that.
Buck Henry, so Miranda is now trying really hard to convince Buck Henry that she's for real because she knows he's telling everybody else that she's not.
Yeah. He's the linchpin. He's who she needs to convince.
Yes. And so she says, like, they keep trying to meet, you know, and she keeps like evading him. And he's asking her, you know, he's trying to pin her down. And she says, here's what's going to happen. On Tuesday, you're going to meet somebody who knows me. Ask them about the restaurant 21. That's what she says. That Tuesday, Buck Henry is a guest on the Tonight Show. During a commercial break, he leans over to Johnny Carson and says, "Did you ever have anyone come up to you at 21 and say they're friends with me?" And he said, "Yeah, a really good-looking blonde girl, actually."
Oh, wow.
And so he's like, "What the fuck?" Like, so Johnny Carson has seen her, like, and yeah. So like,
He's
she's
just
like,
holding
"You'll
the
meet
card to his
somebody."
head. He's like, a good-looking blonde girl, the rest of 21, and the gerbil in Richard Gere's ass. Ariana.
Yeah, fucking crazy. So Buck Henry is just like, this is wild. Like he is
Yeah.
like down the rabbit hole. He says to this interviewer, "I have a book's worth of material on her. I couldn't begin to tell you the whole story. It would take 10 hours to tell it all. The stories are too long and I want to save some of them. I've only scratched the surface."
But damn it,
some of
Johnny,
is-
I'm in love. Like, I'm
Yeah.
in love with this girl.
They're obsessed. They're obsessed.
Yeah.
So this is when like the Perry stuff sort of breaks bad, because like this is when things get a little bit sad. So Perry does eventually meet her.
Okay.
Like, so she eventually confesses a little bit of this to Perry first, like before he ends up meeting. So he sort of gets her to admit, "My name is not really Ariana. And the reason I do this is just that it's like, it's fun and I like feeling like I can get anyone to fall in love with me. And I like the gossip. I don't really know like what compels me to do it, but like that I am doing this and like, I don't know, it's just fun."
It's like, it's almost like, I mean, I know not proto, because people like this have existed forever, but it's like almost like proto the doula girl, or proto, just, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the kind of people that we cover on this show, but like before you could really get this shit like going online, when you had to like really put in the work.
Yeah. Yeah. So she said, the goal was that she felt like she could make any man on the planet fall in love with her, whether it was a farmer in Iowa or a senator in Washington. So she tells Perry this, and he is in so deep. Like, this is not a deal breaker for him. He's like, she's telling me the real shit.
Yeah.
We've broken through, and now we have like a real relationship. So he's like, he's in it. Like, this is not a deal breaker for him now that she's come clean.
Me and Ariana are taking it pretty serious. She told me her real name.
Yeah. So her real name is Whitney. So this will
Still
come
a
up now.
hot
We
name.
know.
I don't know. Like,
It is a hot name.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. Her real name actually is hot, I think. Her real name is Whitney Walton, which is like that is like a hot rich girl name.
Yeah. I'll take it. I don't care about how your grandfather treats his workers at his fucking multinational corporation. Whitney Walton, just get in the jet and get the fuck out of here, girl. Come on.
So he's in, and now that he sort of has seen behind the scenes, she does start dishing about all of these other men, and he realizes he's friends with some of them. So like he talks, to his friends about it, and realizes like a lot of them are really infatuated with her too. Like, for example, Perry went to the University of Michigan, and he's a big fan of their football team. So there's a really well-known, talented wide receiver on their team named Anthony Carter. And he tells Whitney, like, "I'm going to Ann Arbor to see them play. I'm a big fan of Anthony Carter." And she's like, "Oh, I'll arrange for you guys to meet." And they meet. And Anthony Carter's like, "Yeah, Whitney Walton told me to call you." Like,
oh, shit. So she's actually got the goods when it comes to the connections.
Yeah. Like, she really, like, she really can like make all these guys fall in love with her. Like, all these dudes, like the guy from the Jay Giles band is friends with Perry, and like says like, "Yeah, I was like really in it for a while." Like,
wow, man, that is wild. Because like these are like she said, from a farmer to a politician. This is an athlete, a college athlete. That's not even a pro athlete.
There are some references to that she may have been calling Ted Kennedy, but that is like very unconfirmed.
Oh,
but
wow.
like there's definitely multiple references to her saying that she spoke with him, and the rest of this stuff has mostly been confirmed. So like Obviously, Ted Kennedy's people are not going to say yes, but like it's totally possible.
Yeah.
You know?
I bet the first time she called him, he was just like in his head, he's like, "Is this the ghost from the girl in Quapaquiddick or whatever?" Yeah, Chappaquiddick. Yeah.
Yeah. That's always the first thing I think about with him.
No, yeah. And the guy kill a guy and then swim across. Yeah, that's a wild movie. You seen that Chappaquiddick?
I haven't, but I've been there. And I remember I was really young and I went there with my family in the summer. It's on Martha's Vineyard. And I have like a very vivid memory of being like 9 years old and standing on the bridge in Chappaquiddick.
Oh wow!
And my parents telling me that story, like because I think one of them had just said something about Ted Kennedy or whatever, and I like asked, and so I was like 9 years old hearing this like crazy story. Yeah.
I was hanging out with a girl watching that one time, and I forget what she said or did. We were just joking around. I said, "Girl, you better Chappaquiddick." I was very.
When did that movie come out? I didn't know there was a movie about it.
I was like 2017. It's like Ed Helms and Patrick Wilson. Patrick Wilson plays Ted Kennedy, and Ed Helms plays like this Kennedy cousin who's the one who was like, "You got to do this the right way, and we can get out of this." And they were like, "Shut up, you non-Kennedy idiot!" Like they just kind of like brushed him off, and he was like kind of excommunicated from the family because he was the one that was trying to be like, "This is fucked up, but if you handle this the right way and tell the truth, you can walk away from this." And he was like, "No, I'm gonna lie to them and everybody else." Goddamn.
Yeah, and then he did a Succession. Like yeah. So he is like convinced of her powers and also feels very close to her. He feels like he knows the real her. So he finally persuades her to meet him. They finally meet.
Oh man, I want
to know. He pays
her
a ticket. He flies her out to New York, and they like, you know, they're pretty sensible about it. They're like, we'll stay in separate hotels. Like we won't. This is, you know, because he meets one of her friends first, and he's like, look, if you care about Whitney, I need to know now whether she's basically who she says she is or not, because like I don't want to hurt her and I don't want to like betray that I'm let down if she's not who she says she is. So like, please,
that
like,
seems like a very,
please be real with me.
That seems like a very courteous and real. That's a very courteous, kind question where it's like, when you, that's a
like, I'm still gonna meet her and everything, but like, I don't want to be blindsided if she's not who she says, because that's gonna hurt her feelings. That's gonna make her feel bad.
She fucking pulls in the rascal, you know what I'm saying? She's with 4 kids and shit. Yeah, exactly. You gotta be like, well, all right. Yeah.
And so the woman thinks for a moment, and she says she's not who she says she is. So he's really bummed, and he's preparing for the worst, but he's like, I still, like, you never know.
Yeah.
I have this connection with this woman. Let's give it a try. So first she's like, she tries to get him to wear a blindfold, and he's like, no. And then she's like,
come on, dog.
Really sad.
That, like, your answer has been confirmed at that point.
Right. You know what's coming. So
all right, this is kind of spicy, actually. We put a fucking blindfold.
Right. So she says, "Okay, I will meet you, but the lights got to be dim. Like, I'm turning out the lights in my hotel room." She's like, "What kind of witness protection shit is going on here?" So he goes and he meets her, and he had no idea what to expect, other than that this was not a professional model for Tulane. That's like all he knows. So he's like, I don't know if this is going to be like a total freak. I don't know if this is going to be like a prank. I don't know what it is. So he gets there and he goes in, he opens the door. And what he finds is like, it sucks because like he has to sound like kind of an asshole because she's kind of just a normal lady. Like she's not like ugly or anything. But she's a little bit frumpy. She's in her 30s. She's like a little overweight. She has like a big mole on her cheek, but she's like not ugly.
Not the extreme of any of those categories.
Right.
Yeah.
She's like a perfectly average woman.
Yeah.
And
if she was really big, it'd be funny. Go, damn girl, you said 2-lane. Look like you need to go to 4-lane. Am I right? You start tapping up everybody.
So like,
I was sitting on that joke for a while. I had to spin it.
I feel like he is in a tough spot because he's like, this is like a perfectly fine person, but like this, I'm not attracted to her, and also she lied to me. Like,
exactly. Yeah, you're not in the wrong. It feels shitty. It feels weird, but you're the victim here. You got lied to.
Yes.
You have a free pass to get the hell out of there.
That's okay. Yeah. I'm glad you think that too, because like a lot of the Reddit comments on the link to this story were like, "Wow, what an asshole!" And I'm like, she didn't lie. To him.
She lied to him and everyone else at the same time.
Right.
You know, it wasn't like she's not good. But also, it is.
It's not like if he ran into her on the street, he'd be like, gross.
Yeah, that's almost like the funnier part of it is that, like, she's not like this insane caricature of any one of those categories. She's just like, a little frumpy, a little overweight, not just, not super glaringly beautiful. Like, nothing too crazy, but just enough where you're like.
I saw some pictures of her. Like, there aren't a lot of pictures of her. And she's like a perfectly normal looking woman. Later in life she does gain a lot of weight, but like at this time she's just like a cute blonde lady, but like
the idea I'm getting is
not a college student model.
I'm thinking like elementary school librarian assistant.
Sure, yeah. I think that's kind of the ballpark.
Yeah. Do you remember have you seen Liar Liar? His assistant who gets the crazy haircut, and she goes,
I can't remember.
Oh, dude, she's just like this like little weird, like she has all like the extreme 90s things. Like, oh, she's got like a piercing and crazy hair, but it's just like, but that's like the joke because it's 1997, and she just looks like this little bookish lady. Anyways, that's what I'm thinking.
So he's like despondent. They have like a really awkward date and he kind of breaks it off. Then he goes over to Art Garfunkel's house, who is also someone who has talked to this woman. So he's like a fellow Miranda head.
Yeah, he's like,
apparently everyone is.
I just gotta go hang out with my friend. Like, it's just all the 80s celebrities. He's like, I had nothing to do. I went and got one of my friend O.J. Simpson and Art Garfunkel.
So, he breaks it off. He just says like, I'm sorry. I just feel like kind of taken advantage of and misled. Yeah. And like, I do feel like you hurt me. And they have this kind of emotional parting. Like they both feel sad about it.
Yeah.
He's broken up about it. He, in time he gets over it. And then 2 or 3 years later, he's out at a restaurant in Beverly Hills and he hears somebody call his name. And he turns around and it's her. And she's there with Quincy Jones. And she tells him, me and Quincy we're buying a house together in Bel Air. She's like, he's like, I guess like Quincy Jones went to the hotel room and was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I
guess. She ain't too big for Quincy.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that.
It's
were they really buying a house? Was Quincy like, hell yeah, I'm buying this house?
The weird thing is she like disappears after that. Like she's out of Hollywood after that.
Damn.
Like, they broke it off. But like
young Rashida really was like, Dad, where's Whitney? And he was like, Rashida, I got some bad news.
That'd be so crazy if
Whitney's
this was Rashida Jones's mom.
Yeah.
That would be so fucking crazy.
Wow, that's crazy with Quincy Jones. That's wild.
Yeah, man. So she gets close to achieving the dream. She almost gets a house with Quincy Jones.
Yeah.
But then she kind of goes away, and eventually, it's unclear how long she did this, but the calls seem to have wound down in the like late 80s.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't getting these calls from quote unquote Miranda anymore. So that's where this reporter, Brian Burrow, picks up because he goes to find her. So I think he hired a private investigator to find her. And it pulls up some like newspaper quotes from someone with this name, thanking people for donations to Head Start in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And he's like, okay, well, she said she went to Tulane. Like, this might be her. So he calls the Head Start. He's like going, sort of tracing this woman's work history, and eventually finds her as a social worker in Baton Rouge.
Okay.
So
shit, I'd got big in Baton Rouge too. Like if I had to like phase out of my 30s into my 40s in Baton Rouge, I wouldn't be looking too
I'd be
great.
big. I'd be big as hell, no question.
Just snacking
can't blame anybody for getting
snacking on a boudin while I'm fucking giving the interview.
Absolutely. God, no question.
Yeah.
So this is like 15 years later. This is happening. This is like 1999. So yeah, he says she, quote, a weary looking woman around 50, maybe 5'6" and 250 pounds. She wears a shocking pink stretch pants and a matching top, a slinky-like assemblage of gold bangles and chains around her right wrist, would appear to be diamonds twinkling at her earlobes and knuckles, and the fading remnants of a blonde dye job. There's a large mole on her right cheek, which that's something that Harry described, that she had a mole on her cheek.
Yeah.
So he questions her, he's trying to ask her about this. And she plays dumb. She's like, Miranda Grosvenor doesn't ring any bells to me. Ariana, I don't know anything about this. He starts naming all the people she called. She's like, that's not me. Whitney Walton's a common name.
Yeah.
I'm a social worker. I'm at work. Like, leave me alone. So he says, quote, in a half hour with Whitney Walton, I sensed not the slightest whiff of joie de vivre, of curiosity, of playfulness or whimsy, any of the qualities men have attributed to Miranda Grosvenor. In fact, it is impossible to reconcile this woman with the stories told of her.
Yeah.
So he starts questioning, maybe this isn't her. Because, like, she has a mole, but, like, she has none of the vibe. She has none of the juice.
Yeah.
Like, the charisma she is not showing to me.
Yeah.
And then he drives by her house where he knows she lives from the PI, and he sees a red Porsche in the garage, which is something that they have all described, because she's a fancy car person, and he's like, this is her.
Yeah.
Like, this is absolutely her.
This has such like Kaiser Soze vibes. Just like,
totally right.
I've never seen that woman before in my life. She walks out like, I don't know, she doesn't look any different, but she just walks differently.
Yeah, it's she suddenly like becomes super hot. Like, that's somehow she like takes off the disguise.
Yeah, removes the mole, throws that off.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking, man, she reminds me of the kind of lady you'd see working. Like, she's a social worker. She reminds me of somebody that works in government in a mid-sized southern town. And she's like, now, sweetheart, you're actually going to need to fill out all these in triplicate. Yeah, I know. They got to do it now. Like, I can see this lady telling me how to take care of my traffic ticket.
Yes. Yeah. Weirdly though, because like I would do the same accent. People said she had like a very sort of posh transatlantic accent, which she might have been putting on.
Yeah.
That's possible she put on, because like that's what fancy people sound like. You know what I mean?
She was like, ham and eggs.
So he like tracks down. He finds the place that she worked at when this would have all been happening, which was. This lady sounds like a real do-gooder. She worked at a women's shelter.
Oh, wow.
Baton Rouge. The article says battered women's shelter. I don't know if we use that term anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like that term is like really weird.
Battered women sounds like you gotta have like a black eye to get in. Like, it's like, hey, you're downtrodden at most. All right, this is for battered women.
It's so, I don't know. I think we've stopped using it. It's
I don't think anyone says battered women. Yeah.
Battered women. Yeah. Like, damn.
It's
God.
Just the beat up broad's house.
Right. Like a shelter for ass kicked women. Like, God. Stop being such an asshole to them.
Yeah, the Baton Rouge shelter for women who are really going through it.
Yeah. So she worked there. And to your point of what you were thinking of, she did previously have a job as a librarian. So,
oh, wow. Right. I can spot him.
So she gets this job at the women's shelter, and he tracks down some of the people she worked with then. And they were like, oh, yeah, she used to talk about it all the time. It was so much fun. It was like her hobby.
Hell yeah.
It was like collecting all of these phone numbers and getting info on all these guys.
So where did Johnny Carson see her?
I that seems to be unresolved.
Yeah.
That may have been resolved in the book.
I can see Johnny Carson just kind of going, oh yeah, no, I did. And like playing along with it maybe for comedic effect.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's also like, she was like a cute blonde lady. Like, it's not like it would have been.
Yeah.
I don't know how he said it, you know? Because, like, I don't think she would have been like, oh my God, this woman. But, like, he was like, oh yeah, like a cute blonde lady said she knew you. Like, I don't think that would be like completely out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Also, but I don't know.
He was from Nebraska. I'm sure he appreciated a very, a real looking woman. Yeah, real looking woman. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
A sturdy woman. Yeah. So they said, there was Perry, there were like these other people, but her big romance, her big love was Billy Joel. And Billy Joel.
Oh, wow.
She was always talking about Billy Joel, and he would call her and sing songs he was working on her answering machine.
What?
So, like, she had proof. Like,
yo, that's very cool. Wow, yeah. Billy Joel, that's funny. Did he just recently say that, like, he was like cheating with his friend's wife for like multiple years and they got found out and it like ruined his entire social circle?
I don't know. I believe it. He was he was always, so while he was calling her, he was dating Christy Brinkley. Like, he dated all the models.
Damn,
like,
she had Christy Brinkley's man. Like calling her like, yeah, whatever, Christy, get your man out my fucking, get your man out my answering machine. This is the is the equivalent of the DMs,
Totally. Get your man off my voicemail.
Yeah. He's always talking about some, I don't know what the fuck it even means.
So that was another thing, by the way. Like, so she had tapes of him on her voicemail. She also would tape some of her calls, that was when some of these guys got a little weirded out because she would tell them she taped some of them. But like, she had proof. She had proof that she was talking to these guys.
Yeah.
And so like, she would play the tapes for the friend. She would say, he's buying me stuff. He bought me this watch. They never really knew if that stuff was true, but they did know that they had some kind of relationship. Her friends thought that Uptown Girl was about her because it was during that time.
Oh, yeah. That's interesting. This dude she had the 80s Joel inspiration.
Yeah. So her friend says, we never knew whether to believe her or not. It was so bizarre. Billy Joel interviewed. I love that a lot of the guys on here are just like, yeah, she was like really fun to talk to. Like, they don't seem embarrassed about it, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So Billy Joel says, I knew her as Whitney Walton. At first, when she called, it was a pain in the ass. I said, I don't know you. What's the catch? But she seemed to know a lot of people in my business. Steve Winwood, Sting, Eric Clapton. So I thought she was on the level. That was just before I started dating Christy Brinkley. I was dating Elle McPherson at the time. So he's just going through models.
Whitney Walton called me up. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's so crazy. So he said he appreciated her quick mind and began rehearsing lyrics and rhythms over the phone with her. Musicians, he says, get calls from all kinds of wacko people, but this girl was different. She was awfully good company.
Wow.
She demurred. If he wanted to know what she looked like, she suggested he go to the drugstore and buy a bottle of Clairol Ash Blonde coloring. She was the model on the box. Rendezvous were arranged, but she never appeared. Joel insists he never actually sent her any gifts of note. But then one day, he says, someone showed up at my house with a gift. I don't know what it was, a toy or something. It was a friend of hers. Her car was out front. There was a person sitting in the back of the car. I couldn't see who it was. I assumed it was her. He says she grew oddly possessive. When he dated other women, she would get jealous.
Yeah.
So like, he has these like weird sort of elusive things with her, and then she started being kind of a pain in the ass. He tried to meet her for like the third or fourth time, and then he was like, I'm out. And she, when he kind of breaks up with her, she's like, fine, I'm gonna call Sting. So funny. So
when your
funny.
backup plan is like Christy Brinkley, you're just like, yeah, you're just
Don't call Sting.
You're sitting at the restaurant, you're like, I guess I guess I'll call Christy Brinkley, I guess. Get the hell. Yeah, hey, and she's all excited to hear from you, and you're like, she's your second string to this librarian in Baton Rouge. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing is like, I wish we had recordings of her on the phone because like she must have been fantastic.
Yeah.
She must have been really something. But yeah, so as far as like Quincy Jones, it just says her relationship ended after Richard Perry saw them together. Jones refuses to comment. The other guys who declined to be interviewed for this article who were said to have contact with her were Warren Beatty, Peter Wolf, Richard Gere, Michael Apted, Art Garfunkel, Bob Dylan, Ted Kennedy, Eric Clapton, Sting, and Robert De Niro.
Damn.
Just fucking crazy.
Wow. Yeah, that is... That sounds like who was at the fucking Viper Room in River Phoenix died. You know?
Right.
That's insane.
It's crazy. It's like she really racked it up. So, yeah, I mean, it sounds like she was just kind of like a fan and had this talent and discovered that she could use it to sort of bewitch these dudes, which like, I guess if you have that power, this is a relatively harmless way to use it.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Yeah, it could manifest itself in worse ways.
And it seems like most of this was like, apart from Richard Perry like being really bummed out, like most of these relationships seem consensual. You know, like they know they're not seeing her. They think it's kind of fun that she's a mystery woman. It seems like at least a lot of them had an inkling that she was not really who she said she was. So this is like relatively harmless, but it's definitely a con. So
yeah.
You know, worth it. Kind of worth it.
Worth it. Yeah, I would say if it's gonna manifest itself in any way, this is the preferred way.
So a little addendum to this. After this article came out and this book got written, she was contracted to write a memoir. So they found her and she admitted to it and was going to write a memoir. It was scheduled to be released in 2006. You could pre-order it and everything, but then it fell apart. I'm guessing probably because of like
just the
various people's estates and stuff.
Yeah,
like
legal issues,
yeah. That's my guess. But when the book deal was signed, Robert De Niro bought the film rights to the story. And he was one of the guys who allegedly talked to her.
Oh, yeah.
So the book never came out. Robert De Niro never made the movie, naturally. Whitney Walton died in February of 2016 at the age of 74 in Baton Rouge. There is a tiny little picture of her in an obituary. People who knew her seemed to say she was like a lovely lady. She was a do-gooder, social worker, like a nice person with just like a very strange hobby. So
damn.
Well, that's
such a cool story. Thank you so much, Kath. Yeah, R.I.P. Whitney Walton. You sound like a very fun and interesting person who ultimately didn't do much harm except breaking Richard Perry's heart.
Yeah. So the book based on this is called The Miranda Obsession. So if you're interested, you can read more about it there. And that is also the article of the name of the Vanity Fair article. So,
awesome. Vanity Fair, always coming through some heat. Kath, you as well, always coming through some heat. Thank you so much. That was a wonderful episode. Guys, if you liked what you heard, like I said, we are Lie, Cheat, and Steal. You can check us out online. We are on all the social media platforms at Lie, Cheat, and Steal Podcast. If you like what you hear, you can check us out on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Lie, Cheat, and Steal. There you'll get access to all of our episodes that we post in the free feed ad-free. And then you'll get 2 more episodes every month and access to the Discord server. You're going to want to check it out. It's a fun place to be. Guys, the summer of 2025 is shaping up to be fucking crazy, but just hold on to your bootstraps. I hope Mom Donnie's doing good. And if you
just checked again, and I think it's even more solid.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So it's heralded a new age.
I don't want to call it too early, but I'm happy with it.
Yeah, folks, and if a kind stranger calls you up and wants to gossip about you and your friends, it's probably the plot of the movie Scream. They're going to kill you. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. Thanks for having fun. Be safe, be smart, but above all, don't get caught.
Don't get caught. See you next time.